Let me add my thanks for your coming this afternoon. And to be efficient, I'm going to read from a prepared statement. This morning, Geneva College filed a lawsuit against the Obama administration in federal court in Pittsburgh. This lawsuit challenges the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services regulations under the Affordable Care Act that mandate religious employers like Geneva College and their insurance companies to provide abortion-inducing drugs to our faculty, staff, and students. We believe that this mandate is a violation of the freedoms of religion and free speech guaranteed by the Constitution of the United States and affirming legislation such as the Religious Freedoms Restoration Act. Our suit is not directed at preventive contraception, although there are some who would like you to believe that it is. Rather, it's about the government requiring us and other religious organizations to provide services against which we have a religion-based moral conviction. For us, this is the requirement that we offer abortion-inducing drugs as part of our employer-provided health benefits. We also respect the religious freedom of the Catholic Church and others for whom contraception is an issue. The point is that the government does not have the right to tell us or them that we must sacrifice our religious freedoms and violate our consciences by providing services against which we have a moral objection. Abortifacient drugs, although classified by the FDA as contraceptive medications, are not preventive. They actually induce abortions after life has begun. And to require us or our insurance company to provide coverage for such drugs is to us totally abhorrent and unacceptable. As Christians, we believe in the sanctity of human life. We believe that God knit us together in our mother's womb. We hold to the requirement of the sixth commandment, you shall not murder, and believe that abortion is murder and not justifiable, except possibly to save the life of a mother. To have the health insurance we purchase provide abortifacient drugs for our faculty, staff, and students tramples on our deeply held Christian convictions to uphold life as decreed by God Himself. The Health and Human Services Preventive Services mandate coerces Geneva College to violate the Sixth Commandment under the threat of heavy fines and penalties. The mandate also forces the college to fund government-dictated speech in the form of counseling that is directly at odds with the religious message we wish to convey to our students and the broader culture. Our freedom to exercise our religion is guaranteed by the Religion Clause of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and further protected by the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Our freedom of speech is secured by the Free Speech Clause of the First Amendment to the Constitution. Both our freedom of religion and our freedom of speech are violated by this government mandate. The college's position on abortion is not new. Geneva has participated in community-wide pro-life awareness campaigns like Life Ring, which encourages churches with bell towers to ring their bells in mourning on the anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's 1973 decision in Roe v. Wade. We've sponsored public events in which we have explored the religious dimensions of the abortion issue, including a panel discussion this past October on the topic, abortion. Is it an issue of justice for the mother or unborn child? And as recently as last month, the college sent a group of students to Washington, D.C. to participate in the annual March for Life, at which they expressed their support for the sanctity of human life and their opposition to the Supreme Court's decision in Roe v. Wade. Geneva's motto, Pro Christo et Patria, for Christ and country, has never been understood to suggest two equal authorities. Rather, Jesus Christ is Lord of all, and we seek to educate students who are prepared to serve the country and society out of love for and obedience to Him. When the state stands in opposition to Christ, we must make our stand with and for Him. Our government should not be able to force us to buy or sell insurance that subsidizes morally objectionable treatments. If we do not contest this mandate, we believe that we would be responsible for allowing abortions to occur. So today, Geneva College is taking a stand, and that is why we have filed the lawsuit, Geneva College versus Sebelius.
want to let you know today that I'm very pleased to be a part of an organization that is willing to take a stand like this for our religious rights, for our ability to choose for our employees based on what we believe God is calling us to do. But for me, this is a personal issue because I believe that abortion is violence against women. Women are the seen victims of abortion. There are many unseen victims. We talk about them all the time. But violence against women isn't accepted in any other form. But we don't always hear about that in the discussion about abortion. I was looking online today and I found a 2009 study that came out of Bowling Green State University, which found that women who had abortions were at greater risk for substance abuse, suicide, and other mental and psychological disorders after their abortions. There are effects, there are consequences. There are also studies that show that physical consequences can occur. It can be more difficult for women to have pregnancies that can be carried to term after abortions occur. Abortion is violence against women, and I'm pleased that Geneva is taking a stand and not providing this service to women on this campus. They're protecting women from those possibly devastating effects. I have a friend who shares a story about her experience with abortion. She was a nursing student and found herself pregnant, and her future changed. She realized this is going to change everything. Her parents encouraged her to have an abortion. Her boyfriend encouraged her to have an abortion. She knew in her head all of the intellectual arguments and believed this was the right thing to do. She walked past a crowd of people protesting into the abortion clinic and did what she knew was right. And as soon as she was done, she knew desperately that something horrible happened. And they ushered her out the back door, and nobody was there to talk to her. Nobody was there to share her heartache. And for 10 years, she struggled to find the person that she had to apologize to. And it wasn't until she met Jesus Christ that she realized what she had done was murder, and only God could forgive her. And she found her wholeness and her forgiveness in Jesus Christ. And she tells a great testimony now of how she believed a lie. She believed that abortion was her choice, that abortion was something that she could choose to do, and she was an educated, smart woman. But when she went through the procedure, she realized that something was desperately wrong, and she found forgiveness in Jesus Christ. Geneva's taking a stand to protect women from that possibility, and I'm proud to be a part of this organization. So thank you, Dr. Smith, for taking this stand.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you all for coming. Good afternoon. My name is Greg Baylor, and I serve as Senior Counsel for the Alliance Defense Fund in its Washington, D.C. office. The Alliance Defense Fund is a worldwide legal alliance of more than 2,000 Christian attorneys defending the freedom of all people to live out their faith. That freedom is imperiled today like at no other time in American history. The abortion drug mandate issued by the Obama administration is a fundamental assault, a frontal assault on that fundamental freedoms that have been given to every American by God himself and guaranteed in our Constitution. It cannot stand. People of faith cannot be punished by the state for following that faith in making decisions for themselves or for their organizations. But that is exactly what this mandate does. Make no mistake, this was not an administrative error. This is not an unintended consequence. With full knowledge that millions of Americans believe that abortion-inducing drugs kill young human beings, the administration issued regulations that force them to pay for and otherwise facilitate the use of these abortion-inducing drugs. This unjust mandate tramples on the freedom of Geneva College and upon the millions of other Americans, organizations, and individuals to abide by their religious convictions. Indeed, it tramples on the duty to comply with imperatives decreed by God himself. Forcing Americans to violate the Sixth Amendment, forcing Americans to violate the Sixth Commandment clearly violates the First Amendment. The administration invented a fake right to get free abortion pills and elevated this fake right above real freedoms protected by the First Amendment. The administration has purposely transformed a non-existent problem, access to abortion drugs, into a constitutional crisis. Here's what it's come to. The average price for the abortion drug Ella that a user may ingest once in her lifetime is approximately $55. This administration is selling out the First Amendment for the price of a tank of gas. The administration may have put our fundamental freedoms on the clearance rack, but the Alliance Defense Fund and the leadership at Geneva College believe that our freedom is priceless, and we will defend it. Some may ask, well, didn't President Obama offer an accommodation? The short answer is no. When the President and HHS Secretary Sebelius held their noontime compromise press conference on February 10th, HHS went on at 5 p.m. that same day to publish the final rule in the Federal Register. And what did the rule actually say? It said that the same old rule, the one that violates religious freedom, was adopted, quote, without change. So, the administration's alleged compromise is inadequate. Legally, it does not exist. This mandate offers no choice. We either comply and abandon our convictions or resist and be punished. Geneva College and other employers who don't qualify as sufficiently religious under the federal government's excruciatingly narrow definition of religious organizations cannot freely avoid the mandate. Obamacare imposes exorbitant penalties on entities that would refuse to comply. These penalties would undermine Geneva College's ability to pursue its religious mission. The government should not be allowed and cannot force anyone to buy or sell insurance that subsidizes the killing of young human beings. And it certainly cannot punish those who refuse to bow the knee to Washington. Every American should know that a government with the power to do this to Geneva College has the power to do anything to anybody. Elected officials swear to support and defend the Constitution, not to distort and upend it. ADF and Geneva College are here to hold the federal government accountable on behalf of the millions of Americans who still believe in the promises that we've inherited from the founders of this great nation. Thank you very much.